Good afternoon, all. I thought, my session is somewhat totally different topic. We have a normal disease. This IoT is something specialized dish, basically. I thought very handful people will be there, but I see like many of you are there. Thank you for attending this IoT related topic. So my introduction, I'm Nilesh Waghela, AWS Community Hero, and I'm founder and CEO of Electromac as well as CloudKida. I'm running few communities. I'm leading few communities, Ahmedabad communities, good Vadodara community. I'm also instrumental to start Aurangabad community, Bhubaneswar community we are supporting. I'm open source fan since long actually. 1998 I started, if anybody slightly my age, probably they know Linux user group. So that we started since long, and that helped me to drive this AWS community also. My experience about AWS, I started experimenting or supporting AWS 2013, almost now 12 years, where few handful services, maybe around 10 or 12 icons were there when you log into AWS. Now we have 200 plus. Like everybody started GenAI, we also started GenAI last around 18 months. We have also given certain solution on GenAI. I work around 4 years for AWS authorized instructor as a consultant. So I train many top companies, deliver batches, solution architect, DevOps batches for AWS to many multinational as well as GSI. This is my introduction. So today's topic is something on industrial IoT actually. I'm not going to touch home IoT. It's about industrial IoT and slightly different topic. So I'll start with simple pace and then try to go slightly more complex. And if time permit, I'll demonstrate. I have recorded certain videos. So I'll start with very simple and then we can go how we can manage thousands of devices also, right? So that is the main focus area as of now, but based on the time permit, we'll try. So first is very simple. We have something on left hand side, you can see IoT devices, and we have AWS IoT, and we have AWS services. So why AWS is good for this? Reason being, we have already a lot of services and then IoT services. Anybody know why, any guesses rather say, I think we have just started. So any guesses like why AWS IoT is good? Just guess. Any reason, maybe you can fluke something, maybe guess. Anyone? Please. Why it is important? That's one point, but I want something answer like, please. Okay, so differentiator, what is a differentiator? I think in all IoT, your device is going to connect to the IoT services or maybe whatever you hosted. So what is a differentiator in case of AWS? Sorry?
Lambda? AWS Lambda? No?
You are very near actually. So all AWS IoT services are serverless. It is serverless, so you don't have any servers, right? So you don't need to worry about CPU consumption, RAM consumption, resource consumption, nothing. Just request or storage or maybe rules or workflow, that's it, right? No servers. So that's a differentiator, right? So what we are doing is we have IoT devices, we have AWS, and we have AWS IoT, which will help us to store certain data. Certain storage will be there in AWS IoT services also. And sometime you need to create some analytics or additional things. You can utilize other AWS services also. This is generally terminology. So first is app. What will be the app in terms of IoT? So first we'll try to set a stage, and then if time permit, I'll take you to the journey how to publishing a simple message to how to manage the fleet, right? Let's see. So app is nothing but how to control your devices, basically, front end kind of thing. With the help of that, you can control the devices or maybe monitoring or see whatever the output, that is a app. Cloud services, we know that I'm not touching that. Like IoT, we have Lambda, we have DynamoDB, and a lot of other services. So cloud services help us to build IoT. Now devices. So you know what is devices. IoT devices are on edge, and today era is on edge, right? People are talking about how we can process more thing on edge. So IoT is not very structured data actually. There are a lot of protocols available. So nowadays it is going to be TCP IP based. Otherwise, core IoT or OT platform are not TCP IP based. So devices are the kind of hardware. We are not going to touch much about hardware because though we are touching one services which actually also have something on hardware. Devices can include, if you are students, probably Raspberry Pi or Arduino. So that is something everybody start as a hobby project, right? And you can also have kind of Google or Alexa. We have IoT devices, voice assistants, and we have LoRaWAN devices also, which is long range kind of a WAN, and some custom IoT devices also. We have two types of user interface. One is called input and second is called output. Probably input. In analog, if we'll say it's a keyboard, so something has to be input into the devices or interface, which will help us to get some data, and output where whatever the data process and we can see something, right? Interface now in terms of IoT has changed, right? We don't actually put any data. We don't enter any data. It has to be collected from the devices. So these are the sensors basically, which will provide us a input data. It can be temperature, humidity, anything, right? RPM or any other data. Then actuators. These are nothing but devices actually, right? Again, connecting from your sensors to outside devices. So that is something called actuators. So these are first fundamental of IoT part. So we know now what is interface, slightly analog also, like what could be input from IoT. Now let's try to understand AWS IoT, right? What are the AWS IoT services and what is the significance? We'll try to understand very fundamental thing first, and then we'll try to go for first publishing the message. So this is something called structure. We have three type of category. I have divided into three type of category. One is called data services, second is called control services, and third is device or software, right? So where you can manipulate something or maybe install something on device. So first we'll try to understand what are the data services, then control services, and some of the things where you can have control of devices also. So these are the data services. So we'll see one by one, but just for understanding purpose where we can get the data. So one of them is Kinesis. If you are dealing with videos or even data stream also, you can use Kinesis. Then IoT events, IoT site-wise, IoT analytics, IoT fleet-wise, as well as TwinMaker. Though TwinMaker is slightly different, maybe some of the things are discarded from this, but still I wanted to be there, wanted to mention that because it's very important. Then we have control plane. So we need to control also, right? We are managing data which is generated from IoT, and this is the control services. So IoT core is a heart actually. So everything will be connected to the IoT core, and based on configuration or certain things, the data services can consume the data, can give the dashboard. We have something called device defender, so security size, device advisor, how we can build your devices, and IoT device management also. So if you want to control thousands of devices, millions of devices, then you can use IoT device management. Then on hardware part now. So on hardware part, we have simple device SDK. So if you wanted to build your own device, create your own IoT device, or build something which will connect to AWS IoT, or you have some ready-made, maybe just for example, Raspberry Pi if you wanted to create some certain projects, or maybe for simulation purpose, or maybe testing purpose, you can install that SDK, AWS IoT SDK, right? We have device tester also if you are interested how to test the device. We have device tester also. And IoT Express Link, that is for the partner. If your device, you have made something which is available on marketplace, then you can use it. Green Glass will come to that. And last is FreeRTOS. FreeRTOS is those who don't know what is RTOS. RTOS is nothing but a real-time operating system. In real-time operating system, what we want is not only the seconds, but even below seconds, we want all the readings. Maybe 1 second we require 80 readings, 120 readings. So that's we require RTOS. Normal operating system can do that, but there are some problems. So RTOS is real-time operating system and very small footprint. So FreeRTOS is open source, and AWS also provides certain integration part for RTOS. So this is our overall structure, overall offering from AWS. There are a few more. We'll see like if it comes. I hope you understand now 3 layers, right? Data, control, and device. Mostly we limit to control services and data services. What are the control services? We'll try to understand. What are the data services? Though we'll try to understand something on device, but primarily our focus will be on data services and control services. So first is control services. We have something called IoT core, which is the heart of everything, right? So what it will do is, probably you can see the diagram. Let me see if it is bigger one. No. Okay. So IoT core, you can see edge location. So we have on premises, because your edge location, edge devices cannot be in cloud, obviously. It will be either installed on machine, which is, or sensors, which is collecting some data, giving to IoT gateway. Then IoT gateway, it will give to the other services. Maybe database, or maybe analytics, or maybe other things, right? So this is something, IoT core is one of the core services. Around that peripherals, other services will connect as and when required. One is called IoT Advisor. If you see the list, in control services, we have something called IoT Advisor. So what it will do is, basically it will help us to understand how your devices can be implemented, which devices can be recommendations. So it is advisory kind of, right? What devices you are supposed to choose. And sometimes it will help you to understand the failure part also, how it connects also. So that is advisory part. So this is slightly more. So everything will comes to the, by default CloudWatch once it is connected. And the most important protocol comes in IoT is generally MQTT, which will help us to get the messages, push the messages, as well as sometimes people use HTTP also. IoT device defender. This is one of the services, because nowadays, IoT is coming to mainstream. So you require to secure also, right? You need to secure also all your IoT part. So this is defender help us to secure all the devices, fleet or IoT devices. So this is a framework help us to create security on the top of AWS IoT services. IoT device management. So this is the biggest challenge actually. If somebody has designed something, first of all, if you design you wanted to connect your IoT device to your IoT services, whether it is AWS or whatever, it is always question mark how you authenticate, right? How you authenticate. And my IoT device is somewhere else. My IoT service is running somewhere else. How do you control that, right? It is always challenging because it's remotely working and difficult to challenge. So this IoT device management services remove that challenge, right? And we can handle multiple hundreds and thousands of devices with the help of IoT device management. What it will do is registration. First, if you wanted to get the data, what you need to do is registration. How do you know this is the right authenticated devices? I need to get the data, correct? So that's called IoT device management will help us with certificate, PAM keys, one framework. So you have to download and you have to install into your IoT device. You can set approval process also as well as automated process also. So it will push your certificate and keys to the IoT devices. So it can identify the fingerprints and push your authentication part to that IoT devices. But then what? After sometimes you wanted to update also, right? You wanted to update firmware. You have seen mobile. Many times we will get updates. So mobile is considered to be like age, but it's very smart device. We have 8 CPU and 8 GB of memory. So IoT devices are not smart one. So it's always challenging to how to update that, right? Firmware, software part. So IoT device management will help us to update it. We'll see how we can do that. So this is one of the key services. One of the challenge, very important challenge, how to register, how to manage, how to update. Those things it will help. You can create group also. These are the group for maybe a sensor for temperature. These are the humidity sensor. This is mapping the RPM or something, right? So you can group the devices and based on that you can update also. So I'm not going as of now in detail. We have slightly less time. Some data services. So what is data? I hope many of you know Kinesis. Many of you, at least few of you know Kinesis, right? Kinesis is basically data streaming or video streaming services. So here it's a video stream actually. A video stream, it will send the data, media data, and Kinesis will then either go to directly EC2 instance if you have any software there, or if you have installed that SDK, it will consume by Amazon Kinesis streaming and then it will go to the consumer part, right? So Kinesis help us to collect the data in real time, near real time. So that's a part. It's not IoT services, but it help us to collect data very fast. Typically video as well as data streaming. And if you wanted to generate data pipeline, if one pipeline is going and you want some real analytics, that can also be possible with the help of Amazon Kinesis. So we have data stream and video streaming. So right now we are talking about video stream. This is typically for CCTV camera. Nowadays it's very popular or general available. So this is very popular. IoT analytics. So we have a lot of analytics services, but this is typically IoT analysis purpose only. So IoT has some different kind of data. If you talk about industrial data, they have specific, we call tag. We call that data into a tag. Tag might be a 8 character, 12 character or 16 character. Within that character, it will provide everything, right? All the data, then you have to manipulate and you have to store that data. You have to read those parts. So that is very important. And per second, it's common like, 100, reading 100 data or 80 data or 180 data something. So what this analytics will do, it will collect the data. It will also certain process based on our requirement, it will process, it will store and provide us a analyze, kind of a dashboarding. It will provide us kind of a dashboarding directly from the analytics. So you don't require any additional services if you don't want to build. Very quick. I wanted to kind of a POC initially. So what should I do? Instead of creating maybe some analytics services, this will provide us a very quick one. If you are okay, you can go ahead with this. If you want slightly more or custom one, then you have to build your own self. Events. Events, generally why we use events? It is monitoring, right? Any activity happens, so we can understand like the state, something has been changed, so it will be recorded, right? So event will help us monitor or trigger some changes, right? So based on the certain rule, we can management part, we can actually manage the device also, right? And based on that, we can take some action. Maybe a camera you can move, you wanted to move the camera, right? Left hand side, right hand side, zoom camera, something. So that event can be detected. Fleet wise. So if you have something like, trucks or buses or cars where we want to manage like, all the fleets, then IoT fleet wise is the services which will help us the complete fleet. So it will create your fleet according to the nature of your IoT requirement. So I'm not touching right now, but the example is EV car, right? Example is EV car. A lot of data it is emitting, and probably from your mobile you can see what is your status of your car also. Not only EV car, but in EV car it is common. Nowadays in all car it is like, you can see what is the status of your car, right? IoT site-wise. So IoT site-wise is kind of a managed services for everything. It will collect, store, organize, monitor data, and it will generally connect with the MQTT messages. So IoT site-wise, once like core will pass on the message to IoT site-wise, it will help us to do everything as a managed services, right? So it will collect, model, and monitor. So based on our requirement, it will understand what kind of data, and then we can monitor the data. Analytics part is not here. Analytics will be given to the analysis. Device software, I'll go slightly quickly. Tester we have done. So Greengrass I wanted to touch very well actually. IoT Greengrass is one of its own kind. Why it is very important? Because without internet connection also, it can manage that devices. You don't require always connectivity, right? So Greengrass, I hope somebody know Windows workgroup kind of things initially, right? Where it will select one master node and it will handle the other part. So here also the similar thing happens. So one will be promoted as a master if internet connections break, and then all the policies will be there in that particular devices, and within that, if you don't want to update anything, all the policies will run whatever you are running, right? So that is without internet connection if you wanted to manage certain things. So it's a device to device communication, right? So that's why Greengrass is one of the best part. It is implemented as a SDK on edge devices. It's not on cloud, right? Definitely it has to connect to IoT, AWS IoT services, but it is Greengrass which is installed on IoT devices, okay? So that's why it's very important. Again, what is a differentiator? Differentiator is without internet also it can manage whatever the existing policy is working. So internal device management can be done. Nothing will be stopped. Ultimately, it is going to connect your IoT services, sending all the data. Express Link is basically nothing but a partner, I told you. So anybody over here, they are interested, okay, I want to be partner of AWS. I have created some hardware, then you can go for register your device. It will be listed as a AWS Express Link. SDK, I don't need to tell you. FreeRTOS, I already tell you. This is one what we have learned right away, right? One bigger picture that we understood, right? Everything covers over here. IoT things graph, that is not covered, but we are going to cover. IoT events, IoT site-wise, analytics. So you can see these are the analytics services, right? And we have control services. IoT device management, IoT device defender core, and this side we have device services. So this is a single picture that what we need to learn. So now our base is set, right? We understand it. I also wanted to add one more services which is going to be mostly discarded, or maybe some new name it will become. Two services rather. One was IoT Monitron. So Monitron was a wonderful device. You have to just put your devices without any interface to your equipment. It's a smaller size of equipment, and based on the vibration, based on the temperature, it will learn actually which is a normal stage, what is a normal operating standards, maybe RPM, maybe vibration, maybe other things. It's a machine learning treated devices. So based on that, it will learn this is a normal stage, and any parameters go outside of those tolerance limit, maybe RPM is vary, maybe vibration is vary, maybe humidity is vary, maybe temperature is vary, then there is alarm. This is not right thing. So it will tell you without doing any install. Just you have to stick into your equipment. That's it. But somehow AWS is discarding that devices. One more important service called Digital Twin Maker. It's extraordinary service. If you are working on floor plan, it will create digital mirror of your floor plan onto as a digital assets. So you can see how my floor plan is, why it is important. Because sometimes you have to move equipment. Sometimes you have to people have to move. So whether adequate spaces are there, adequate air circulation is there, everything will be you have to understand. And every time you can't go to soft floor, or sometimes your soft floor is not ready. If you wanted to simulate what you will do. So that's called Digital Twin Maker. It's wonderful services. This is one of the architecture we have implemented for one of our, this is AWS standard architecture. We have not implemented everything, but yes, we have implemented a part of that to one of our customer, where initially when random data was, or rather a lot of data were generated, it was generating 10 terabytes data per day. It was generating 10 terabytes data per day. Then we remove all unnecessary tags actually, and after removing that tags, it will be reduced around 180 GB per day, right? So it has been reduced drastically because unnecessary tag we have removed. The information which was not required, after journey of 6 months around, we could reduce that up to 180 GB, because all tags are not required also. So you can see here, these are the IoT protocols: OPC, OPC UA, KP server, HMI. So HMI is basically human machine interface. So that from that we'll connect the data. Nowadays you can get it from SCADA also, or maybe DCS system also. And once you connect, we have firewall. This is also business data center. So on firewall, we have one side firewall is IoT firewall. So the data which is not supposed to be exposed should not be IoT data. And after that data we have, after that data, we have one more firewall which is connecting to the AWS. So that is common first firewall is for IoT firewall. And then it will connect to the internet. And we have, you can see whatever the services we have seen, most of the services are there. So IoT site-wise, IoT core, IoT analytics. Now probably you can see at that time this was in preview, but it will help us to, IoT core will connect data to IoT site-wise. Then IoT core rule engine, based on the rule engine, it will pass on to the IoT analytics. Then data will be stored in S3. And S3, we have created data lakes actually, because if you consider 180 GB per day data, this is running around more than 2 years now. So you can imagine, the amount of data. It's a manufacturing plant actually. So then we have SageMaker. Now we are planning to implement this, as a to run some machine learning algorithm to understand GenAI. With the help of GenAI, will consume. Then QuickSight for dashboarding. You can see IoT events for triggering certain things, and SNS will help us to understand if my batch size is going, some machine is not working, some machine has some part issues, so those part can be replaced easily. And other are AWS services, CloudTrail, key management services, identity access management services, right? So this is as of now implemented. You can't see any server here. Can you see server? There is no server. So that's the main part. So we have two different, left and right. If you consider this as a right approach, we have one customer, 100% build everything on server, right? Just maybe 1 minute more. My time is up. So in that case, that's the beauty of AWS. Either you wanted to manage all the managed services, or rather say you wanted to use all the managed services, or you wanted to build your own services. So one of the customer have built everything on server. They don't use any of the services. They use just EC2 and connecting to all the devices to EC2. So that's the beauty of AWS. Whether you wanted to build your own services or you wanted to use any managed services. So that's one of the best part. Unfortunately, we don't have time. Otherwise, I have 3 demos, around 10 minutes. But anybody interested probably, or maybe I'll update the demo with my slides so you can go through that. And make sure if you wanted to experiment something, this is the AWS link. I'll share this slide. There is nothing, I created myself, so no worry about that. These are the certain workshops you can do it yourself, right? It will guide you everything. So multiple workshop, and some of the workshop you can do it, and some of the workshop are guided. So first it will, with the help of cloud formation template, certain platform will be ready, and you can do the analytics and other parts. Questions? No time, sorry. And this is my LinkedIn profile. So anybody wanted to connect to me regarding, maybe IoT or anything about AWS, I'm happy to connect, right? Thank you all. Thank you very much.